Hello, hello. Welcome to Behind the Practice. I'm Tradena Mosley Rayner. People ask me which name I prefer. I say Dina because if you call me Tradena by my full government name, I think I'm in trouble because that's how I knew I was in trouble growing up when my mom called my full name, Tradena. So if you want to see the softer, gentler side of me, stick with Dina. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist. I'm the owner of Real Talk Nutrition, which is one of the subsidiaries of Weight Inclusive Dietitian Professional Corporation in California. And apparently, someone who decided that running a private practice was not enough to keep me busy because, in addition to running my business, I'm also completing my PhD in developmental psychology. I am in the dissertation phase right now. It is going through some editing, and hopefully, I can defend it and graduate in September. We'll see. It's been a long journey. I've been in the PhD program for a long time. I'm also attending medical school. I'm going through clinical rotations. Right now, I'm at an internal medicine rotation in Georgia. I'm creating content, managing a team, and attempting to have some version of a personal life. So, yes, everything is going perfectly, and I'm extremely well rested. Obviously, I'm joking. But that is really part of the reason I decided to create Behind the Practice. When people see a business online, they usually see the finished product, right? They see the website, they see the social media posts, they see the professional pictures, the programs, the appointments, and the announcements when something goes well, right? What they don't always see is everything happening behind it. They do not see you sitting at your computer at midnight trying to figure out why something on your website suddenly stopped working. They do not see the programs you created that don't sell the way you expected. They don't see the money that you spent testing an idea, the content that took hours to create and got 14 views, or the moment when you've seriously considered throwing your laptop out of the window. For legal purposes, I never actually thrown the laptop, but I have thought about it. All right, so you want to know who I am, right? As I mentioned, I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist. I created Real Talk Nutrition because I wanted people to have access to nutrition care that felt honest, practical, supportive, and free from judgment. A large part of my work focuses on weight management, bariatric nutrition, GLP-1 medications, metabolic health such as diabetes, kidney disease, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and the changes that many women and men experience during midlife. The majority of my patients are women. Maybe they have PCOS, fibroids, endometriosis, perimenopause, going through menopause, postmenopause, but I also see men too. I feel like men, especially men of color, don't get a lot of support, especially from dietitians. Not many people specializes in that. I wanted to create a space where people could talk honestly about their health, their bodies, their medications, their eating habits, and their struggles without being shamed. But at the same time, I've always had interests that extend beyond traditional nutrition counseling. I am deeply interested in psychology, medicine, behavior change, business, technology, content creation, and the many different ways we can educate and help people. For a long time, I sometimes wondered whether I had too many interests. Now I'm beginning to realize that the goal may not be to force myself into one small box. The goal may be to figure out how all of these parts can work together. I'm still figuring that out, by the way. And this is not one of those channels where I have already built a multi-million-dollar company and now I'm looking back from the mountaintop to explain how easy it was. I am still climbing. I'm right there with you. Sometimes I'm climbing confidently. Sometimes I am crawling. Sometimes I am sitting on the side of the mountain wondering who suggested this activity. But I'm still moving. That's the most important part. Why I created Behind the Practice. I created Behind the Practice because I wanted a place to document what it actually looks like to build and evolve a healthcare business in real time, not just the polished parts. I want to talk about the decisions I'm making, the things I'm testing, what is working, what's not working, and what I'm spending money on, where revenue is coming from, and how my vision for the business is changing. I also want to talk about the emotional side of entrepreneurship because that part is very real. Building a business can be exciting, but it can also be confusing, isolating, expensive, and humbling. You have a great week where referrals are just pouring in. You don't have a large enough bucket to handle it or a large enough bandwidth to keep it going. Your content is performing well, and then I feel like everything is finally coming together. Then, 3 days later, an algorithm changes. A platform suspends something. contractor misses a deadline, and I start questioning every decision I have made since 2017. That emotional whiplash is real. I want to be honest about it without making every video negative or turning this into a weekly business breakdown in both meanings of the word. There will be struggles here, but there will also be wins, lessons, experiments, new opportunities, and hopefully a lot of growth. So, the messy middle. One of the reasons I wanted to make this channel is that we hear a lot from people after they have become successful. They tell us how they built the team, created the product, grew the audience, or replaced their income, but I want to document the middle. The middle is where you are still testing things. It is where you are trying to determine whether you need another employee or whether you need to stop creating unnecessary work. It is where you are deciding whether a new role is a brilliant opportunity or simply another distraction wearing a cute outfit, right? It's where you are building systems while still doing much of the work yourself. It is also where you are learning that being excellent at your profession does not automatically mean you know how to run a business. I can understand nutrition science, counsel patients, study psychology, and work through complex medical information. That does not mean I automatically know which thumbnail people are going to click, which email subject line they're going to convert, or why one video gets thousands of views, why another video that I thought was amazing is apparently shown to 6 people and somebody's cousin. Those are completely different skill sets, and I'm learning them as I go. Some of my struggles. One of my biggest struggles has been trying to do too many things at the same time. I have a lot of ideas, a lot. Some of those ideas are good. Some of them probably need to remain inside my head and never receive funding because I am interested in so many things. I have sometimes spread myself too thin. I have tried to balance patient care, insurance billing, content creation, YouTube blogging, Pinterest, social media, digital products, memberships, affiliate marketing, team management, school, clinical rotations, and my personal responsibilities, all while trying to maintain a marriage. Then I wonder why I am tired. It's a real mystery, right? I'm learning that being capable of doing something does not mean I should be doing all of it at the same time. I'm also learning that a successful business cannot depend on me operating at maximum capacity every day. That is not a business model. That is a countdown to burnout. Another struggle for me has been separating my worth from the immediate results of my work. When you put something online, the feedback is very visible. You can spend hours creating an educational video that you know is valuable and it barely moves. Then you casually post something that you almost did not upload and suddenly people are interested. I wish I could say that I always respond to that with maturity and intellectual curiosity. Sometimes I do. Other times I stare at the analytics and take it personally. Comparison can also be difficult. You can watch someone who started 2 days ago get the type of response you've been working toward for months. It is frustrating, but I am trying to become better at studying what works without allowing someone else's growth to convince me that my own work has no value. Their success is information. It is not a verdict on me, right? That is a lesson I am still practicing. So, what is Dana building? Real Talk Nutrition started primarily as a nutrition private practice, but my vision is becoming much bigger than filling my calendar with individual appointments. One-on-one care is important, and I still want it to be a part of the business, but I do not want the entire business to depend on how many appointments I can personally complete every week. There are only so many hours in a day, and I have already attempted to use approximately 32 of them. I want to build something more sustainable. That includes patient care, but it also may include group programs, education content, digital resources, partnerships, affiliate income, media, community, and eventually a larger team. I want Real Talk Nutrition to become a trusted platform where people can receive credible health information without shame, fear-based marketing, or unrealistic promises. I also want to create a business that gives me more flexibility and financial freedom. I am not uncomfortable saying that I want the business to make money. Making money allows a business to survive. It allows you to hire help, improve your services, create better resources, reach more people, and stop trying to personally complete every task at 2 o'clock in the morning. The goal is to make money ethically while creating something valuable. Both things can be true. What you'll see on this channel. So, what will you see on this channel? On Behind the Practice, I will be sharing the real process of building the business. That may include conversations about how I make decisions about services and pricing, how I work with virtual assistants and contractors, what I delegate and what I probably should have delegated 6 months earlier, how I'm growing the blog, YouTube channel, Pinterest, email lists, and other platforms, what I'm learning about referrals, insurance, private pay services, digital products, memberships, affiliate income, and brand partnerships. I make sure revenue and expenses when it makes sense and when I feel comfortable doing so. I will talk about experiments, including the ones that work and the ones that quietly disappear and are never mentioned on the website again. I will also talk about balancing entrepreneurship with school, clinical training, patient care, health, family, and regular human exhaustion. Some videos may be structured and educational, others may be more like business diaries, where I sit down and tell you what happened recently, what I'm thinking about, and what decision I'm trying to make. I don't want this channel to become a performance where I pretend to have everything under control. I want it to be useful, honest, and real. So, who is this channel for? This channel is for dietitians and healthcare professionals who are interested in private practice or business ownership. It is for people who are building something while also working, studying, raising families, managing their health, or carrying other responsibilities. It is for anyone who is in the messy middle and sometimes wonders whether they are behind. It is for people who are reinventing themselves, changing careers, expanding their identities, or realizing that it is not too late to build something new. And I am in my 40s and I'm still learning, building, evolving, and changing direction when necessary. I do not believe we have to arrive at one final version of ourselves by a particular age. Sometimes that next chapter begins while the previous 3 chapters are still open in separate browser tabs. That is basically my life right now. So I'm building Real Talk Nutrition into something bigger, more sustainable, and more aligned with the life that I really want, and possibly transitioning into something else. I don't know exactly what every part of it will look like yet. Some things will work, some things won't. Some things will work, but I will discover that I do not actually enjoy doing them, which is also useful information. I want to document the process while it is happening, not wait until everything is polished and successful enough to turn it into a perfect story, because the most important part of building anything is usually a part people do not see. The decisions, the mistakes, the doubt, the adjustments, the small wins, the moments when you are tired but decide to keep going anyway. That is what I want to share here. So, if you're interested in business, healthcare, content creation, entrepreneurship, reinvention, or simply seeing what is really happening behind a growing private practice, I would love for you to subscribe and follow this journey. Welcome to Behind the Practice. Now I should probably get back to actually running the practice.